Hi, my name is Dr. Rolando Morales. I'm a plastic surgeon from Houston, Texas. Very proud sponsor of the Mr. Olympia 2020, and looking forward to again to 2021 Mr. Olympia. 2020 was definitely an interesting year with the pandemic. Just watching how the pandemic had affected the entire sport of bodybuilding was a huge impact. I wanted to help out somehow. I didn't know how, but I saw that the Mr. Olympia was going to have the same prize money, and they were still going to host the event no matter what was coming. And I just saw the commitment of Mr. Olympia to the sport of bodybuilding just incredible, and I wanted to be part of it. You know, one of my dream kind of bucket lists would be part of the Mr. Olympia somehow, some way. So I was talking to a friend of mine, and we're kind of going through the situation of the pandemic, and he goes, well, I could probably get you in contact with Sean Ray. Like the Sean Ray, like the legendary bodybuilding Sean Ray? He goes, oh yeah, I know him pretty well. I'm like, Sean Ray, like I could talk to Sean Ray. He goes, oh yeah, I think he could at least help you, point you in the right direction. I'm like, yes. So we got set up with a phone call to talk to Sean. And I remember that night very vividly. He called me, and I see his phone number, and it's Sean Ray. Had a great conversation with Sean, and just about the sport of bodybuilding, and I told him I really want to be part of Olympia somehow. I just want to support the sport, because I just think it was going through a really, really hard time. So I'm talking to Sean, and we kind of go over game plan. He's like, well, just let me make a phone call, and then I'll get back with you in an hour. And sure enough, called me back in an hour. Sean Ray again called me in an hour. And he goes, yeah, so I was talking to Dan Solomon about you, and he'd love to talk to you about being a sponsor for the Olympia. So the next thing I know, I'm on the phone with Dan Solomon. So he says, hey Doc, so what would you think about maybe presenting the first place award to Classic to the champion at the Mr. Olympia? Hold on 1 second, Dan, I just gotta take something real quick. Hell yes I do! Yeah! Dan, that sounds great. Thank you. So I'm trying to digest all this, and he also mentions, he goes, hey, your wife's a pro too, right? I'm like, yeah. He goes, she should be on stage 2 with you. Yes. And then the next thing I know, he's like, well, you know, we're gonna give you some extra sponsorship. We're gonna have your banner on the stage, and also put you in the program. Really? Well, thank you. That's amazing. The next thing I know, he's like, yo, we'll get you some seats too. I'm like, awesome. He goes, no, the VIP ticket. Like, what? I get to go VIP to the Miss Olympia. And the next thing I know, he goes, and you're gonna go backstage too. I'm like backstage? Like with all the these are like the best of the best in the entire sport, right? If I get to go backstage? He goes, yeah. And then next thing I know, I heard that Shaq is coming. I got to meet Shaq, Hall of Fame basketball player. Couldn't believe it. It just kept getting better and better. So we get to the host hotel, and I'm walking into the lobby, and I see the Olympia ads everywhere. And then, sure enough, my logo. I totally didn't expect that, right? And I see it everywhere, and I was just pinching myself. My wife and I are like, oh my God, it's there right there. So we're on our way down to the exhibit hall, and you know, sure enough, one of the first people I meet getting there was Dan Solomon himself. You know, I didn't even have to introduce myself. He already kind of knew me. He's like, hey Doc, glad you came. And my wife and I I just couldn't believe, like, this is Dan Solomon. I've been to Olympia multiple times. You know, my wife and I are huge fans of the sport. So you walk in, and then you see this, right? This massive venue with these huge screens. So we're sitting through the show, and I'm just giddy, right? Because I know I'm gonna eventually be on that stage. And so I'm just so anxious. It's like about to go, like being on the first time ever going on a pro stage. So I see that Class Physique's about to come up. And so I get a tap on my shoulder, and I look up, and I see my escort, and she says, I'd like to take you and Corey backstage and get you guys ready. So I'm turning on the corner backstage with Corey, and sure enough, first person I meet, Sean Ray. First thing Sean says is, great to see you, Doc. Corey, you look incredible. Hey, I want to introduce you to somebody, Dave Bautista. Dave Bautista? He's like, yeah, just come over, just real quick, come on over. So he shoves me over there, and sure enough, the next thing I know is I'm taking a picture with Dave Bautista and Sean Ray. And what's crazy is I haven't really gotten backstage yet. I was like on the side of the backstage. I haven't even got to the point to actually like get backstage. So we're actually in backstage, and we're hearing the placements, you know, 5th place, 4th place, 3rd place. and I'm still backstage, right, with Corey. I have Tyler next to me. He's holding his Sandow trophy like this with 2 hands. And then you're second place, and then the excitement in the crowd you hear outside is just so excited about who's gonna win, who's gonna win, who's gonna win. And then the next thing you know, Bob says, Chris Bumstead! And the place goes nuts. And the next thing I know is, you know, I've got Chris's hand, and then Corey has his other hand, and then we're presenting the trophy. Class 50 champion, Mr. Olympia. Just boom, right? That just happened. So I'm very grateful that this didn't turn out to be a one-time event. I get come back as an Olympia sponsor. And if I can do anything about it, I'm going to continue to support the sport of bodybuilding and Olympia as long as they'll have me. And I made some lifelong friends in the sport. And one of those, my great friends now is Sean Ray. And I'm very, very much looking forward to continue my commitment and just being a fan of the sport. I'm an Olympia sponsor, IB Pro, Dr. Rolando Morales, and I'll see you at the 2021 Mr. Olympia.